here, brother.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, my brother. Doing good.
Want to thank you for having the show that you have, because I'm listening today, and I've been having a really tough time with what happened in Tulsa. And it's just, I'm 42, and I grew up here in L.A. I remember Rodney King. We tore the place down. I was probably 16 when that happened. And we've never made any progress anywhere with law enforcement. They have no respect for our human lives. They have no respect. And it's so clear, and to be able to hear the lady talk about what happened in the courtroom and the tactics that were used, and it's just, at what point do we stop talking about it and start taking some action? I mean, what point do we have to get to? I mean, this gentleman was he wasn't a bad guy, you know, and Philando wasn't a bad guy. And I just don't know what are we supposed to do at this point? Where do we go now? What do we do now? I mean, we've gotten to a point where we see very clearly that there's no legislation being made. The officers are not having new training. It's just clear what the tactics are. So at this point, where do we go? You know, what do we do? I mean, at the point where we've been, you know, peaceful, and we've had riots, and we've had all of that. But what do we do now? You know, I mean, This guy on video, these are not bad guys. They're not involved in things, you know, but I'm not even going to get into that side.
Right.
But what do we do now? We're talking about good, hard-working, common Black America people, period, because it's not happening to just Black. It's just with us in Black America. When you look at what is happening, it doesn't make any sense. So where do we go now?
Right.
That you can clearly see there's nothing, they're not doing anything. So what do we do now?
I got you, Stephen. I got it. Look, Stephen, this is just a suggestion. Well, no, but this is not a suggestion. This is what I'm doing, right? So a lot of people know what I used to do, right? I used to just look at the news, look at what was happening in the world, and sort of like form an opinion, sort of like what I do now, but it would be typically on issues like shootings. It'd be on court cases. It would be on run-of-the-mill things. And some stories I would do would be lighthearted stories. You know, a woman sets her husband's car on fire because she caught him cheating. You know, I just had fun, and also did important subjects as well. I covered every major shooting in the last 3 years. I covered that. But the reason beyond Bernie Sanders that got me involved in politics was I realized that without politics, I wouldn't be able to fix any of the problems that I was reporting on outside of politics. You get what I'm saying? So one thing that's needed is political capital. We need to have politics that works for the people. Politics changes things. Money changes things when you funnel your money directed towards politicians that you want in office. If we organize, and if we get power locally, we can change police departments, because police departments respond to money and power. They do. If you believe, like I believe, for instance, if Terence Crutcher was a 50-year-old white guy driving a Mercedes, she wouldn't have shot him. She would have been thinking, what? Because probably that man has power. Well, until officers of any color, right, feel that any citizen, no matter what size, age, color they are, may have political capital, because they're in an area where they have political capital, the people that they pull over. Until they have that understanding, we're going to always have these problems. Political capital is where it's at. So I think that to say that, the legislation is not being done, no, there's great legislation, brother. Michael A. Wood is a former Baltimore police officer. He was at Standing Rock. He's been on my show. He's been on several other shows. He's a phenomenal guy. He has an idea on how to revamp policing, how to take it to the level where we actually can see justice, and also train officers in a way so that they respect and so that they are accountable for their actions. So there is legislation in place, and there is hope. But it starts with political capital, man. It starts with being able to get people like Michael A. Wood in positions where he can make change happen, where we can build a better system. And then people will fall in line, because no one wants to suffer repercussions. And once you have political capital that makes people suffer repercussions, they'll make sure their officers stay in line. But you got to have the pressure. So that's why I started even doing politics, or that's why I kept doing it, because I realized the problems that I talk about, they can't be fixed just by you being a good guy. Look, you being a good guy ain't going to fix the problem. You just said that, Steve, and I agree with you. Me being a good person doesn't fix the problem. A lot of times I hear too many people talking about personal responsibility. Personal responsibility don't keep your water clean. What did personal responsibility have to do with the water in Flint? Nothing. Could have been personally responsible, getting straight A's, still dying because you're drinking water that's contaminated out of your tap. Personal responsibility got nothing to do with it. There's so many cases like that. I mean, so many instances where people are suffering. It's not personal responsibility. Government has to work for the people, or what's the purpose of having government? And don't tell me about handouts. Don't tell me about you taking more, you just want. You know who takes the most? Corporations and rich people. They take the most, and they always get handout. I didn't hear a near banker go, I don't want that because it's going to be too helpful. Don't save our bank, Obama, because we wouldn't want to take from the government and look lazy. But you'll beat up on a mom with 3 kids. You'll beat up on a guy out of the service who hasn't found his niche yet. You'll beat up on a young kid who didn't get good grades and can't find a job. You'll beat up on them for getting little unemployment or food stamps. But you'll let some rich bastard sit on his ass and not pay no net taxes and then get bailed out, and you go, well, so we got to get past that. We're getting mind screwed. We're getting screwed up in the head. We have lost, like, I don't even know if we ever had it, but they did a number on us, folks, when they turned us against one another. Oh, man, when they made it to be about, and that's what they did, because after the slaves were free, black people and white people started working together. And they started looking at the rich people going, hey, what's up with this? This isn't fair. And that's when it came down with the Jim Crow laws, because they wanted you to feel like you had something. Even if your life sucked and you lived with a mud floor and you had no money and you ate beans every day, you could at least say, I'm not black. And that was the game, and it's still the game. And until we start deciphering and decoding the game, we're going to be stuck in this situation. And it's such a problem, and we need to get beyond it. We really do. We got to get beyond it. Because if we don't get beyond it, well,
you gonna eat your cornbread.
It's gonna be somebody sitting around ready to eat your cornbread. They're eating your cornbread right now, whether you know it or not. While you struggle, while I struggle, while we try to make ends meet, while we try to figure out, I don't know, what we gonna talk about at the People's Summit. Why we can make the country better, how we can grow, how we can steal back our democracy, take back our democracy. Those bastards are sitting around counting their money. They're sitting back. And it's not good.
Nobody take no cornbread from me.
But see, we got to have the attitude. We're not going to let them take our cornbread, because that's what's important and that's what matters. Our cornbread is all that we are. It's our humanity. It's our knowledge that no one is better than anyone else, and we're all valuable. All of us, everyone matters. Everyone has value. As long as there's life, there's value. Even beyond life, there's value.
Maybe I ought to eat your cornbread.
And yeah, they're going to come back. They want to eat your cornbread. It's your job not to let them, and it's your job to organize. So that's why I suggest that you go join a local Bernie Kratz. localberniecrats.com, a grassroots organization of people with similar ideas and maybe some ideas you don't share. But I'm sure if you look them up and you look out, you seek out grassroots organizations, you're going to find some common ground and you can be about making something happen. So this conversation, this show is just a conversation. The great callers that call up, we're just sharing ideas, but ideas matter because ideas are where it starts. And from those ideas, we put some action behind it and we execute. And if we don't do that, if we don't band together, if we don't decide to take the next steps, then we really got no one to blame. No one. And if that continues to happen, well, you know the story.
It's going to be consequences and repercussions.
Damn it, it's going to be consequences and repercussions, and we're already getting them, and they're going to keep coming until we make them give us our country, until we make them do a better job, until we unseat them. And like I told Ro Connor, hey man, sounds good, you're talking the talk, but if you don't walk the walk, we're going to primary that ass. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, I am right, because that's what we'll do.